guys, it's Sky bringing another video. I hope everyone's been doing good. I've been doing good myself. There's been a lot going on in my life and so many different changes, and I've been going through new challenges that at times makes it hard, but I've really learned to adjust from that. And that's honestly what's changed so much in my life since March, April, that time. That's really, when things started to change in a more positive direction for me. I was going through so many struggles before then, and I kind of got stuck in neutral. I stopped having belief in myself that I can change things in my life, and I just kind of gave up for a period of time. So it was hard. It was really hard to rise above that, because then you get stuck in a cycle of discomfort of not wanting to challenge yourself. And you don't realize sometimes how long you get stuck in that place. And once I was able to change a few things and then look at each situation I went through in a different light, that's really when things started to change. That's when I started to become more patient and just realizing that I can change more in my life, each aspect of it. For us, the way we live as humans, every second's precious, but we don't know how to slow down time. We are always in a hurry. We don't appreciate the small things and the little things in life that we feel. And sometimes, for me, I've done that pretty much most of my life. I wasn't able to just slow down time before because I was never really happy. So it's you're just trying to get through it. And now I'm the things that I experience and feel, it's makes me happy. I'm able to appreciate every moment. And that's the things for me since, I came out and, made that change in my life. Everything I had to learn was new. Everything I went through, experienced, it was new emotions. People don't understand that. To have to have different type of interactions or, feels from other people when, for the most part of your life, you're just living to be somebody that people want to see, something that makes them not question life in a sense, because a lot of that's what it is. There's a lot more people that we don't realize that actually care. This world will make you, with social media and everything, it brings out the negative of each other, and it makes it hard because you feel you connect it to multiple people instead of just one. And we start prejudging each other to the point where we're always critical, and it makes it easy to really divide each other. But it's more complicated than that. There's more gray areas. This world isn't easy. There's so many different types of people that make up it, and it's hard because we make each other enemies before we even know each other. And a lot of these things that, I had to grow up and learn, you know what I mean? I was so immature before. I was. And it wasn't because I was an immature person. I always felt I've always been a more mature person in a sense of compassion for other people. But I was so kind of not functioning correctly that I wasn't ever able to really be that person. I had those emotions, but since I didn't have happiness towards my own life, it made it hard to project that all the time and to function correctly. And that's why I struggle in school a lot too, because I just wasn't able to want to learn, and when you don't have that light on inside, you're just a machine. I don't know, it's hard to explain, and I do my best when I talk about it because I think it's important, because people don't realize sometimes what it really feels like. And it's not something people always want to make it out to be something negative, and some people always will, but it's much more than that. It's something that you just know who you are, and when you're young and know it, that makes it even more proof that people feel that way. So all these different emotions that you go through, for me, all my life growing up, I was negative towards myself. I had these negative opinions for myself. how I looked, critical of how I felt inside because of, my parents were very like kind. They didn't talk negatively about like any group of people ever, so I had positive influences, but there was also religion, and I was always religious, so it made it hard because you want to be positive about yourself, you want to be confident and say you're a good person, then you read someone's like and it could be projected in different ways. People have their own interpretation towards things, and the thing is people don't really though truly know like that you could be a person that's a good person still. It's like it's those emotions made it hard. It made it hard to ever have confidence in myself, and it made it hard to like see a future. So going through these years of not having any way to talk to, and not feeling like you can talk to anybody because they don't understand. And for me, obviously it was before social media and stuff like that, so there wasn't as much information. It was really hard to find people to connect with that you can see yourself being. So then at that point when you don't, you feel so alone. You feel like you're just like this broken human being in the world that no one else is like. And it's scary because like, why did I have to be stuck with this? You feel excited about who you really are, but then it's like, and then you feel that, well, at least for me, everyone's different, so everyone's gonna have different emotions. Some people are able to be stronger than I was. I was not a strong kid. I wasn't confident. I didn't have any of that. And I think a lot of it had to do with that, being who I was. So it's like it's an awkward feeling when you feel like you have a good heart and you care about people, and you try to do good things, but then you have this side to you that feels like you were never fully given the opportunity to be shown that you're going to be a good person, because people are always going to misjudge you. It's hard to be successful in your life when that happens. And it got to a point later on where that became a depression, because I never envisioned myself being able to have a happy life, because either I was going to live for somebody else's happiness, that's always a good thing, but you should also be able to be happy with yourself in the process. People don't understand how hard it is to function when you can't just feel connected with everything. And that's what it's about. It's to be able to connect with your emotions, with how you really are. And everyone has their own opinions to things, and they're going to think their own way. There's nothing you can do to change that. That's another thing I had to learn, because it's like, it's easy for somebody else to try to take away your confidence by saying something hateful to you, and especially in this day and age with social media and stuff. You can never, people are always going to have hateful things to say, and you have to adjust to hear, learn from that when you hear things like that. And that I had to change a lot too, because like I told you before, I was never one with confidence. So I had to, I had to learn that, and I learned it. It took a long time to get there. So, for me, it took a long time for me to get the strength to just be myself. So, there was times for me I didn't even think that I was going to ever, go through with it, because I had this mentality of fighting it, and I didn't want to hurt anybody. But it doesn't do anything for anybody, because you're not able to actually really connect. It was a struggle. There was times where I was making that decision to finally go through with it, and then I backed off after a few months, which that made it hard too, because it's like, you feel like you could I could finally do it. And then you know, there was things in place at the time that I didn't see how I could be successful with it, or how I'd have the right support. You know, I didn't really have anybody to talk to about it, and I didn't go through with it. So I waited, and then it got to a point where I was just in this dark place, and I made that decision. But at the time, you know, you really don't know what's going to happen, because I've never had anybody to talk to. So when I made that decision, when I started to challenge myself, when I started to take the next steps in my life, it was all, I mean, I didn't really think about it. Like, I didn't know how to prepare myself for what was going to happen. I just knew that I had to go through with it because I was dying. I just, you know, I was such dark times. And for me, I didn't think that I would ever put myself in that spot. You know, I thought, yeah, I'd struggle with things, but I've always been, you know, somebody that keeps fighting. So, when I made that decision, and I never looked back. You know, I had things in place. For me, I was at least happy with myself for having the right things in place. Now that I look back at it, like, I felt like I did it the right way during the transition, because, you know, I kind of set these people in place, these, you know, support systems for me, because I never really, not that they were critical, but I never had it from my family's side. Like, when I attended things, I attended alone. Like, I didn't have anybody to go with, you know, through with certain things with me. So I was happy to have that comfort on the opposite side, the person that was helping me. You know, I felt comfortable with, you know when you visit somebody and they like truly care like what happens to you. So, you know, without these people in place, I don't think, you know, going through my, you know, journey was going to be as easy as it was. You know, there were times that were so difficult, so it would have been even, you know what I mean? So it was never easy. It's you know, there's no clear path. It's just, you know, you start going through new experiences. So my first thing that I did is I went to a therapist. You know, that's the first person I set up, and she really helped me at the beginning stages of everything. She's the one that told me, you know, kind of, you know, gave me a direction. And, you know, she showed support, and that was like the first person that like was, you know, really asking questions. And obviously it's because it's her job, but, you know, there's people that do their jobs just to do their jobs, and there's people that do their jobs because they enjoy helping people, and that's how I felt with her. So I was grateful for the, you know, for her giving me direction and confidence. And then after that, I set up a speech therapist who I called and left a message, and then she, you know, called me back. And ever since then, like ever since the very first time, you know, and I thought I was going to struggle with that, like the speech part of it, not because, and I'm not saying I was going to like be able to learn, you know, I didn't know how I felt about myself, but, you know, I felt comfortable with her. With me, that was hard. You know, I was never, like I said, a confident person. So, you know, I had that anxieties of, you know, doing it around, you know, like experiencing and experimenting with my voice around, you know, somebody I really didn't know. But from the very beginning, she was awesome to me. And she taught me a lot, not even just about speech, but just about mannerism, you know, how to, just the view of life. She's like the very first person that really got me thinking differently about the people in this world. Like, you know, I always had this negative opinion before everything, because everything I'd gone through and how I felt. But after I, you know, went through everything and started meeting really nice people and like my opinions changed completely. You know, there's always going to be hate out there, but there's also a lot of people that care, that want good things for people. And that's what it's about. You know, should we all just give up and not want to improve ourselves to be better for this world? It's, you know, so it's like you have to make this choice. And after, you know, I connected with her and she taught me all these things, and, you know, just really gave me confidence to go further. And then I had my breast augmentation surgery in July. No, it was June. I think it was June 2014, and then I had SRS surgery in August of 2014. So 2 months apart. That was brutal. I went through that, had, it's serious surgery, and obviously, so I went through some discomfort for a while, and it obviously too. So, but you learn to readjust, and I let my guard down. I was able to be myself. I was able to learn things, but I was immature still, because this is the first times like fully dropping my guard to deal with emotions and being vulnerable. Because even though before, I went through situations at times where, I dropped my guard, but you never fully drop it, because you're never fully able to be yourself. So you really aren't fully able to get yourself hurt, because they're not really seeing criticizing the real version of yourself. So it's scary. You don't want nobody wants to hear hateful things. Going through putting yourself in new environments for people to portray you, look at you finally and portray you in their own light. It's, you know what I mean? It makes you very nervous a lot. I went through those emotions a lot, especially when I came back of, doing all the surgeries, and then I started to do the things I did before. I went through, the next step in my journey. I went back to bowling. I've bowled my life. So going back there and seeing all the people that I've connected with through the years, they see me as a little kid. You know what I mean? It's how could they not though? So I don't blame them too, but everybody would be staring for, I don't know, the first year or so. And then it started and I was, I just kept to myself. I didn't talk to anybody. And I got to the point though now, where people are so much, they talk to me all the time, they actually care. It's crazy how much things change. And the reason why is because I'm able to finally be myself. Is there people that might not be able to, they don't talk to me anymore? Of course, that happens no matter what, because everybody has what they feel is right and wrong. So, but I've heard so many more positive things now, people have commented on the whole transition, and seeing me when I was growing up as a kid to where I am now, a lot of them give me respect and have been proud of me, of being happy, and that's the thing that people see more than anything, is just my happiness. I might go through my struggles, but I consistently am happy with who I am and just where I'm at in life. It's just other things, life's more than that, the struggles we go through. We have it's not easy. The human brain is a difficult thing to understand at times, and it makes it hard to be consistent for anyone. So and going through these new emotions of connecting to people that I grew up around and everything, and then hearing them comment in a positive way, it makes me, have confidence too. For me, the problem is with me is I'm very forgetful of that, and I'm very critical. So if somebody gives me a compliment, I'll learn to turn that compliment into something negative, because they overthink things. And I've always had, ever since I was little, I wasn't able to change that mindset that I, thought critically of myself. That's something that I've struggled with. That's why I have a hard time, even if I play softball or something, and people say something nice, it's I always just, and I've talked about that before, where I'll say something critical about myself. It's just, I have a hard time with that. So, and that's a lot what I'm trying to learn to change to, I could never fully change in that sense. That's just who I am. But there is things that I've gotten better with. If somebody compliments me, I'll be able to say thank you now, at least, and try to stay away from saying something critical. Just the confidence thing too, of just being, just accepting who I am, being myself and projecting my light on the world, to connect to people. That's what it's about. It hasn't been an easy road, I've gone through, I've connected with people, good things and bad things, whether it was, sports really getting back and doing, like softball and bowling got me back into like being more, energetic and wanting to exercise, and to the point where, I started, the first year was good for me when I started playing, but I was depressed. I wasn't, I felt slow. I wasn't, I didn't feel healthy. And then, the next season I came back and I started dieting, and just I felt so much better, like confidence for myself, not only out there but with myself. So it really helped, bring me up. And then I started to start playing more days. I was connecting and playing with people that I didn't even really know, that needed a sub from people I played with. So, and I met a lot of people, and that's another time I started, seeing kindness in people. At first, no one really, I didn't really talk about my background and, what I've been through. And then it gets to a point where it's like, you kind of want somebody to talk to about what you're struggling with, but if they don't know who you are, it's hard for them to fully understand. So it's like, you can connect to people, but if they don't know who you fully are, it's hard to fully connect because they can't. So it's like, and I started being open about it, especially because I was starting to do YouTube and all that. So like doing these videos and streaming. So I was, I put myself out there anyway. So it's like, if somebody really wanted to look like on my social media, they're gonna know. So it's like I started being a little bit more open with it, but it got to a point where I also had to learn to readjust to rejection in that sense too, because everybody still has their own opinions. And I'm more of a person that, whatever people want to think, that's their choice. You still have to deal with those emotions though too, and people can be hateful. So I went through situations where, people would be critical of something, and I had to, learn to adjust to those emotions too. And at the end of that, before I, struggled recently, like that year and a half that I was out, those emotions got to me to the point where, I started questioning everyone I played with. And I overthought that whole situation to the point where it's like, and I just pushed myself away from everyone. I stopped playing, and then that's when I got in a car accident, and just, things just didn't go my way. And when that happened, you're like, what am I doing? How did I get here? Things are so good. But then I, forced myself to push myself away from everyone. And I've been really bad at that. I don't know how to learn with situation. I don't know how to deal with situations that I just, instead of dealing with it, I push myself away from it and just, go close myself off to everyone. And then I had to get myself out, and that's what I did. And these last few months, I just been fighting to change, and I have significantly. Like everything that the way I approach things in life now are different. It's like I slow everything down. It's like, before I was always in such a hurry to do things, and I am a lot still sometimes, but I'm able to take, if there's something I'm struggling with, I'm able to like remind myself about this, about how, what struggles I've been through and the challenges that I've, experienced. I've been able to finally get myself to see that I can, be this person I always envisioned myself. And that's important to me, because, you get so lost in this world that you give up on yourself, and it's not easy. You have to fight for that. But I've continuously been able to improve things. I haven't, obviously, like I said, I haven't been able to put out videos consistently, and I hate that. Hopefully, now that I'm kind of finally have everything together, and, I've finally figured out my, more of myself, because now I'm finally, going at these situations, the things that I struggle with, and being able to communicate it to other people is something that's been big too, because it allows me to know when I'm messing up, And that's what's important. That's what I struggled with, and that's why I wasn't able to change. I kept making mistakes just because I didn't have anybody to talk to before, because I was so stubborn that I felt like I could do everything myself. But if you can't have somebody looking on the outside in, it's hard. It's easy to miss things, and you're not doing yourself any good. So it's been, and I'm learning to, challenge myself more. I'm a person that's always been, I get complacent that I continuously do the same thing. I fall into a cycle, and I'm kind of at times scared to try new things. But I think that's something that's held me back. And that's, see what else is out there in the sense. And I have been, I've been opening up more. I've been trying to break down the cycles that I was in, learn to adjust from that. And I think that, like, where I'm at now is a place I never thought possible, like confidence wise, and just strength of, like, knowing who I am, knowing what I want to do, and having a focus. Where before it was like I felt I had it, but that was only for a period of time, and I've always been somebody that struggles with inconsistencies. At times I feel like I know what I want to do, I have that confidence, and then it's like down here where it's like, I don't know who I am. I don't know where I'm going. So I was never able to have that maturity of, having the focus of realizing that, every day is a challenge. You have to continue to fight. You don't just, you have to push through. That's just the way it is. You have the ability to bring your own happiness to your life, or you can make an excuse of why it's negative. I'm trying to put myself out there with the dating thing. I have been terrible with it. It's been 4 years. Let's see, right? I think so. It'll be 4 years in, I think, February that I haven't dated one person. It's kind of like I was just in this phase. I started streaming. I just that was always my focus, and I've always put so much work into that I just kind of stopped putting myself out there. In between I've gone on dates, but for me it's hard because I hate to say it, but I do have the dating sites online, and I don't know, it's hard to, I don't let my guard down already as it is for people around me, and then I'm gonna go on a site where people I don't know, to trust them, and there's always people trying to mess with you, so it's it makes it hard. I've gone on dates, and for me it's more about connection, and people want to connect right away, so it's I just I want to be in a relationship, but I don't need to be. I'll be just fine even if I don't, but it would be nice sometimes to have somebody that you can connect to and rely on in a sense. But I am trying to connect and open up more with that. I don't know. We'll see if that part I can change. That part I've been pretty stubborn at, and that's something I hate about myself, but it's you accept it. I know that if I was in a relationship, I think I'd be a really good person to them, but I don't allow anybody to connect with me, so it's I'll never, I'm so difficult, I'll never be in that situation. It's but I know that I'm like that, and I don't expect anything different really. If something happens to come along and I'm, able to meet somebody, then I'm good too. We'll see where it goes with that, but everything is going, like I said though, it's I was trying to be somebody I wasn't at times, and that brings, I forget that, I was pretending before and I wasn't happy, and then you try to be somebody else now and it doesn't make you happy. being yourself is the thing that's going to make you happy in this world, and be able to have, you know, motivation for going forward and just having the confidence. So it's like, you know, I know who I am, you know, I know, you know, what I want to do. It's just now about continuously just like believing in that and staying consistent. And that's where I think I'm at right now, which is important. We'll see where it goes. I hope everyone's had a good summer. I know that things aren't easy, but you're not alone. And I've gone through so many heartbreaks, so many times where I just pace around because I don't see future. But it's important to keep fighting, because there's always a day that's going to be better. And there's always going to be new experiences. But don't let other people, you know, change who you are and what you enjoy. Because forcing something, you'll never be truly happy. And that's the truth. Be kind to yourself, have confidence. And, you know, don't trust everyone, but there is people out that you can trust that do care. I love you guys. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, it helps me out. If you want to know more about my life, subscribe. I will see you guys on the next video.